ahead and record this one right now for the students at home. But let's just hold off on Greece just a little bit. And we'll let everybody do what you guys just did, spend part of their time studying the geography. And there will be an entire section of geography questions on the state exam. So it's time well spent. So learn all the states, rivers, really important. Mountain ranges, continental divide, you have to know where that is. So that's going to be time well spent. So hopefully all those links worked. Did any of those links not work? No, they all work, the ones you tried? Okay, well, let's put our computers completely away then, because now we're just going to go into more of a solemn moment. And this is one of the things that we ask our presidents to do. And we ask our presidents to be what we call consoler in chief. And I'm going to go ahead and share the screen here, and we'll get to this section. And I also want to update you a little bit on the data. So let's go ahead and do this, and it'll fit nicely with the time we have left. And then we'll catch up with Greece next week. Okay. So yeah, time well spent on the geography. All right. Well, so here's the thing. We ask our presidents to do a lot of things. And one of those things that's really important is that they console the nation in times of difficulty and grief. This right now, what you're living through, frankly, is akin to a major war. I think it's a much bigger deal than our biggest trauma when I was your age, and that was the Vietnam War, simply because it's the largest mass casualty event in the last 100 years. So it's hard to get our head around it though, because it's so random. It affects some people, doesn't others. We just heard a young man, a kid that helps us with our yard every summer, just came down with, got quarantined. Of course, we know he's going to be fine. Symptoms are mild at this stage, but we're tracking that very sincerely. But then the next thing is that on a national scale, though, this is just a tragedy beyond tragedy. And largely, it could have been prevented, at least to this scale. It was always going to be bad. But at least now we have a situation where we're coming to grips with the situation. We're getting answers. And one of the answers is coming from this president who, in my view, and I've studied presidents all the way back since 1960, you've been around for them, seen them in action, is the most efficient president I've seen. I've never seen anybody like this. It's like, Joe Biden is a machine every day. He's going to Texas this week to console those people. He declared a national state of emergency there as it was needed. And then last night, I didn't have footage for this. It was actually 2 nights ago to show you yesterday or last time. But I want to show you here. They put up 500 candles, 1 candle for every divided by 500,000. So 1 candle for each 100,000 people. And they put them all around here on the from the Truman balcony down the staircase. And then they did a moment of silence there. But before he did that, the president gave a speech. So we're going to go to that speech and listen to it, and to get you guys more ready to write your paper.
Now reporting, David Muir.
And good evening. We're coming on just a bit earlier than normal with breaking news at this hour. America reaching a sobering milestone late today. More than 500,000 lives now lost to the coronavirus pandemic. President Biden is expected to speak at any moment, paying tribute to those lost to the virus. The president issuing a proclamation a moment ago saying, on this solemn occasion, we reflect on their loss. Let's listen to the president.
Each day, I receive a small card in my pocket that I carry with me my schedule. It shows the number of Americans who have been affected by or died from COVID-19. Today, we mark a truly grim, heartbreaking milestone. 500,071 dead. That's more Americans who have died in 1 year in this pandemic than in World War I, World War II, and the Vietnam War combined. That's more lives lost to this virus than any other nation on earth. But as we acknowledge the scale of this mass death in America, we remember each person and the life they lived. There are people we knew. There are people we feel like we knew. Read the obituaries and remembrances. The son who called his mom every night just to check in. The father's daughter who lit up his world. The best friend who was always there. The nurse and nurses, but the nurse who made her patients want to live. I was just in Kalamazoo, Michigan, at the Pfizer vaccine manufacturing facility. There I met a man when I walked in whose father-in-law was dying of the virus. He was sad. I asked if I could call his father-in-law. He said his father-in-law was too sick to speak. But then he said, but could I pray for him? Could I pray for him? We all know someone, fellow Americans who live lives of struggle, purpose, and of hope, who talked late into the night about their dreams, who wore the uniform born to serve, who loved, played, and always offered a hand. We often hear people described as ordinary Americans. There's no such thing. There's nothing ordinary about them. The people we lost were extraordinary. They spanned generations. Born in America, immigrated to America. But just like that, so many of them took their final breath alone in America. As a nation, we can't accept such a cruel fate. While we've been fighting this pandemic for so long, we have to resist becoming numb to the sorrow. We have to resist viewing each life as a statistic or a blur or on the news. We must do so to honor the dead, but equally important, care for the living, those who left behind. For the loved ones left behind, I know all too well. I know what it's like to not be there when it happens. I know what it's like when you are there, holding their hands. There's a look in your eye and they slip away. That black hole in your chest, you feel like you're being sucked into it. The survivor's remorse, the anger, the questions of faith in your soul. For some of you, it's been a year, a month, a week, a day, even an hour. And I know that when you stare at that empty chair around the kitchen table, it brings it all back, no matter how long ago it happened, as if it just happened that moment you look at that empty chair. The birthdays, the anniversaries, the holidays without them. And the everyday things, the small things, the tiny things that you miss the most. That scent when you open the closet. That park you go by that you used to stroll in. That movie theater where you met. The morning coffee you shared together. The bend in his smile. A perfect pitch to her laugh. I received a letter from a daughter whose father died of COVID-19 on Easter Sunday last year. She and her children, his grandchildren, enter Lent this season, a season of reflection and renewal, with heavy hearts. Unable to properly mourn, she asked me in the letter, what was our loss among so many others? Well, that's what has been so cruel. So many of the rituals that help us cope, that help us honor those we loved, haven't been available to us. the final rites with family gathered around, the proper homegoing, showered with stories and love, tribal leaders passing out the final traditions of sacred cultures on sacred lands. As a nation, we cannot and we must not let this go on. That's why the day before my inauguration at the COVID-19 memorial at the Reflecting Pool on the National Mall, I said, to heal, we must remember. I know it's hard. I promise you, I know it's hard. I remember. But that's how you heal. You have to remember. And it's also important to do that as a nation. For those who have lost loved ones, this is what I know. They're never truly gone. They'll always be part of your heart. I know this as well, and it seems unbelievable, but I promise you, the day will come when the memory of the loved one you lost will bring a smile to your lips before a tear to your eye. It will come, I promise you. My prayer for you, though, is that day will come sooner rather than later. And that's when you know you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. And for me, the way through sorrow and grief is to find purpose. I don't know how many of you lost someone a while ago wondering, is he or she proud of me now? Is this what they want me to do? I know, that's how I feel. And we can find purpose worthy of the lives they lived and worthy of the country we love. So today, I ask all Americans to remember. Remember those we lost and those who left behind. But as we all remember, I also ask us to act, to remain vigilant, to stay socially distanced, to mask up, get vaccinated when it's your turn. We must end the politics and misinformation that's divided families, communities, in the country. It has cost too many lives already. It's not Democrats and Republicans who are dying from the virus. It's our fellow Americans. It's our neighbors, our friends, our mothers, our fathers, our sons, our daughters, husbands, wives. We have to fight this together as one people, as the United States of America. That's the only way we're going to beat this virus, I promise you. The only way to spare more pain and more loss, the only way. These millstones no longer mark our national mourning. These milestones, I should say, no longer mark our national mourning. Let this not be a story of how far we fell, but of how far we climbed back up. We can do this. For in this year of profound loss, we've seen profound courage from all of you on the front lines. I know the stress, the trauma, the grief you carry, but you give us hope. You keep us going. And you remind us that we do take care of our own, that we leave nobody behind. And that while we've been humbled, we have never given up. We are America. We can and will do this. In just a few minutes, Jill and I, Kamala and Doug, will hold a moment of silence here in the White House, the people's house, your house. We ask you to join us, to remember so we can heal, to find purpose in the work ahead, to show that there is light in the darkness. This nation will smile again. This nation will know sunny days again. This nation will know joy again. And as we do, we'll remember each person we've lost, the lives they lived, the loved ones they left behind. We will get through this, I promise you. but my heart aches for those of you who are going through it right now. May God bless you all, particularly those who've lost someone. God bless you.
And there you have it.
Now I'm going to jump ahead, of course, to where they did the moment of silence. And here's the scene. And they're about to enter the back part of the White House from the Truman, below the Truman balcony. Let's just jump ahead here and we'll get to that spot. And here we go. You notice the Marine color guard here as they open those doors and step aside and allow the president and the first lady in. Just a solemn moment. At the end of this, bells will toll throughout DC in churches and around the country. And the president also asked for flags to fly at half mast. If you wonder why they're at half mast, that's why. Well, we'll bring this to a stop and get back to our regularly scheduled lecture here. Can you guys still hear me okay? Wave if you can. Thank you. Okay, because I had to play with the audio there. Let's just give you a few more stats. That was one of the most humbling speeches I've ever heard a president give, maybe one of the very best. I've heard some great speeches, and that one there, this is the essence of Joe Biden. We need somebody like this. They come along, and I've seen it happen again and again in American history. And let's look at some facts here. So you can go to this for your paper. A lot of people early on said, well, it's just like the flu. Well, it's not just like the flu. The flu, we have some immunity, a little bit of herd immunity, plus we have vaccines for that. And these are the deaths from the regular flu that comes every year. And we're looking at, 51,015 and 1,018. That was terrible. A lot of people just quit getting vaccinations, and that's led to some of this. This is in a year. So 501,000. So it's not like the flu. It's on top of the flu. Johns Hopkins University is a place you should go to get your data and your stats. Now, some good news. As of this morning, the Food and Drug Administration is authorizing Johnson & Johnson's vaccine, which is a one-shot vaccine. That's exciting. Now, this should say prevent. One of the reasons we want to get as many people vaccinated as possible and stop the spread, wear masks, is to keep these variants from modifying. We can't have that. We can't have this virus mutating. And the less virus there is, the less mutations there are. But there are a lot of people that are resistant to vaccinations. It's got to be a personal choice. It has to be a discussion between you and your family as to whether you do the vaccines or not. But the one thing we can all do together, and that is still wearing masks. And my guess is literally we're going to be doing this for another year. Okay, so I'm going to go to the Johns Hopkins sites. Let's get the good news here. So I told you there was a little bit of a drop last time we talked about. This is the Super Bowl little swing there, but then now it's dropped down again, and we're at our lowest point since way back almost to September. So that is great news, and we just got to keep it up. Even if you get vaccinated, you can still spread it. There's a less chance, but you can still spread it. Here's Utah this morning, 6.75%. Fully vaccinated, 213,000. I'll be added to that list today, and most everybody I know that's older will be done by the 15th. Now, in terms of going across these data points, you can go to this site yourself and check it out. And here's the world numbers. The world is approaching 2.5 million. America is well over 500,000 of that. So we've got some catching up to do, but we can do it. And as the president warned us, he told us it was going to be a long, difficult winter. But if we buckle down, we can make it happen. And so we need a little inspiration at this point. We need a little unity. We need to work together and not give up on this thing. So with that being said, I just think that I've shown you a couple of sites here at the end that you can use. But one thing you can say is this president, when we hit 400,000, there was a memorial to remember. And his words about how we heal by remembering, even if it doesn't affect us and our family directly, there's so many people in America that it has affected. I saw this in Vietnam, where family next door lost an older brother, somebody way down the street. Even though my family in that war, we didn't lose anyone. It was, though, in World War II, my wife's family lost half of their family members. Yet on the American side, our side, all of those who fought made it through. So it's one of those situations where you count your blessings as you can, but you also remember those as you go along, and that's how we heal. So great message by the president. We'll just stop the share right now. I'm going to post this for the online students. This will be lecture 17 or 18. I'll put it in the section for your research paper, showing you how to find that data. And hopefully we can bring this thing to an end. But it's going to take all of us doing our part to make it happen. Okay. All right. Y'all take care. And sorry about the technical difficulties today.